I'm Karen Sutherland from Edible Eden Design, and I'm going to show you how to take a soil pH test for best results. So this is a brand I use, Manutech. I don't get any extras from them. I've just used it for years. It's cheap and readily available. And the main components that it has is an indicator dye, a little blue dye, and a white barium sulfate powder that you use very small amounts of. Now it just comes with little sticks, but I tend to use a spoon because it makes it easier to mix the soil. And it also comes with a nice little sheet of white plastic, and that's what we're going to be putting our soil onto. So number one step for any soil tests is clear your mulch back. The other thing to know about doing a pH test is that if you're testing this whole nature strip garden, for instance, or any garden bed, it's really good to take 3 representative samples and mix them together. So you might mix together a cup of soil, a third from here, a third from there, and a third from further down. Mix it all together and then just take out a teaspoon for testing for the pH, because it gives you a representation of what the garden bed is as far as pH goes. However, if you've been growing different things or treating the soil differently in a very large bed like this, then you're better off to take 3 individual tests. And as with other tests as well, you don't want leaf particles or mulch or roots in it, because that can affect it. So, because we're not testing the roots or the mulch, we're testing the soil. So this has already been loosened because we've done a couple of different tests here, but we're going to dig down. You also dig down about at least 5 centimetres or so below the soil surface to make sure that you're getting the soil itself, or a couple of centimetres below. So you're putting a little bit of soil. We're just doing one test, we're not doing the average. So you put a bit of soil, a teaspoon or so, on your white plastic base. We're picking out the roots and such, and we're left with some soil there. Now, it's very, very easy. We take the blue indicator dye, we squirt some of that on there. The soil's got very dry because of summer, and so we scoop that up and mix it through. So we mix that through. It's a little bit dry. Let's put a tiny bit more on. Now it's quite warm out here, which is a good time to mention that these tests are not good kept in hot areas. So I used to keep mine in my car to take around to various gardens that I consulted at, and it started to affect the accuracy of the test. So keep them in the sort of place you'd keep food or your seeds, so in a nice cool dark place, so they last longer. So you're mixing the liquid through, and then we use the barium sulfate puffed over the top to find out what our pH is. We pop them back in there. Ooh, it does get a bit everywhere, that stuff. And we look in here for our pH chart. And now comes the fun bit. Now you don't look under a fluorescent light, you look in daylight so you get a good accurate view of the colours. And you, after a couple of minutes, don't leave it too long, you're looking for the best representation of this. So this has got a tiny bit of bluiness in it, but it's not really 7.5. It's more 7 really, which is absolutely ideal. Sometimes you'll find if there's concrete rubble in the soil, you'll get little patches in the purple range, and that just means that the concrete is causing little patches to be showing up alkaline. 7 is absolutely ideal, and even though some plants like a little bit above 7 or a little bit below, nearly everything will grow at 7, which is neutral on the pH scale. So this is exactly what we are happy to find.